Welcome to Design30. My name is Jason Bilyeu, and in this podcast, I provide design strategies and tools to improve creativity, innovation, and overall design confidence. Today, we are talking about Crocs. And yes, I am referring to those shoes that many of us either had or our parents had when we were growing up, and they were often made fun of potentially. The design of them was a bit questionable to a lot of us when we were younger, maybe when we were in high school. But recently, Crocs have made what seems to be a pretty impressive comeback. And the reason I'm doing this episode on Crocs is because on Twitter, I still don't really understand what the deal is, but there's been some movement with Crocs about people just posting or putting the word Crocs in their post to improve, I don't know if it's engagement or to improve how many people have viewed your tweet, but there's been some connection to Crocs going on Twitter that has been kind of weird. For example, just seeing people saying like the number one way to increase your number of impressions is to say something about Crocs, and then they'll just say Crocs, 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 Crocs in a Twitter post or in a tweet. So that kind of caught my eye. I was like, what's going on with Crocs right now? Maybe are they actually making a comeback? Is this something that I should know about? And it just got me thinking about Crocs in general. Like, oh, those were a really interesting design. They were a very interesting shoe. Maybe that's something worth doing a podcast on, or at least doing a little bit of research into. So if you follow me on Twitter, you saw that I was kind of teasing the idea of doing an episode on Crocs. And here we are. I'm actually doing it. So I think Crocs are actually a pretty fascinating thing to look at from a design perspective. The more I've looked into them, the more I've been like, these are actually pretty interesting. This is something that is worth talking about, and they're also a very controversial shoe, as we will see as we dive into this more. And it's probably something that you've experienced yourself, maybe even in just your own feelings about Crocs. That sometimes you love them, sometimes you hate them. So yeah, we're going to dive into that a bit more in today's episode. Before we do that, as always, please subscribe to the podcast. If you want to help support the podcast, it is always best to share it with friends, family, coworkers on social media. However you feel the need to share it, that would be very, very appreciated. And of course, there's also the Design30 Substack, where you can become a free or paid subscriber. And then also, please subscribe to Design30 on YouTube. So I want to start this episode on Crocs with a post from a company or a website called themodestman.com. And this is a blog titled Crocs Review, Strange but Surprisingly Practical Sometimes. And I thought that was a pretty awesome title, actually. So I'm just going to start by reading a little bit of that to kind of help set create the setting of controversy around Crocs. So the author of this article says, due to the outlandish design, Crocs almost immediately popped up in the media. They were touted as the world's ugliest shoe. Tim Gunn called the shoe a plastic hoof. Soon, George W. Bush and Michelle Obama were seen wearing them. In just a few short years, Crocs created a level of controversy that was rarely seen in the world of shoes. Fast forward to today, and the arguments have mostly died down. In many ways, Crocs seem more popular than ever before. Celebs like Justin Bieber and Post Malone have their own versions, and there was even a Kentucky Fried Chicken collab. Love them or hate them, it seems like Crocs are here to stay. There's only one question left. Are they actually good shoes? So I think this really frames the question of, I think we're all asking, or maybe we've all been asking when we think about Crocs, is, are they actually good shoes? And I've worn a few pairs. My dad actually had a pair growing up, and I would wear those every now and then, but I've never had my own pair of Crocs. Partially, I mean, maybe that actually says a little bit of what my answer would be on this. But as we go through this episode, you'll see my opinions are starting to turn a little bit. But yeah, are they actually good shoes? What's the design thought? What's the design purpose behind these? What were they founded on? What's kind of their motto, their mission statement? So to figure that out, I went to their website and went to their About section, and it's actually pretty interesting. So it says here, this is just crocs.com, and all of these links I will have in the show notes, of course. So they start this off with saying, born in Boulder, Colorado, shout out to Boulder, Colorado, where I got my master's degree. And I know at least one of the founders is from CU, so go Buffs. So from that perspective, I have to support Crocs, right? It's a fellow Buff, right? So how can I not support them? But anyways, diving back into this. Born in Boulder, Colorado, as a simple, comfortable boat shoe, today Crocs footwear can be found across the globe in more than 120 styles for men, women, and children. With distinct collections, Crocs offers a colorful, lightweight comfort for any occasion and every season. So right there you see kind of what they're going for. This comfortable, lightweight, colorful shoe that you can use in any season. Even their mission statement in this section says, being profound comfort, fun, and innovation, or being to bring profound comfort, fun, and innovation to the world's feet. So right there you can see that's what they're going for. Comfortable, fun, and innovative. And some of their brand attributes that they discuss in this section are it's actually exactly what they just said. Innovative. What separates Crocs from ordinary shoes? Radical thinking, industry-leading innovation, meticulous health-minded research, and never forgetting who we ultimately answer to. Feet. So obviously they're going for your feet. What can make your feet feel comfortable? What can make your feet feel, they're also going for a health-minded, from a health-minded perspective, which I'd be curious to learn a little bit more about that. But then they also go on to say fun. Whether it's with color, clever design, or in the way we get our message out, Crocs always strives for smiles in an effort to elicit a good emotional experience. And I think you see that a lot with the colors of Crocs. There's very loud, bright, kind of crazy color schemes that they go for. And then they also have these little things that you can customize them with called gibbets that you actually plug into the holes of the Crocs. So fun is definitely something that when you look at Crocs, you can see that pretty clearly right away. Like this is something that the company is based around. And then finally, our bread and butter, profound comfort, is all about a feel-good physical experience. Innovations like advanced ergonomic design, uber lightweight technology, and a massaging footbed all make sure that you're comfortable from toe to head and vice versa. And again, if you've ever worn Crocs, comfort is actually definitely a word I would use to help describe them. They feel great. And that's something, actually one of the reasons why I would be tempted to dive back into the Crocs world. And the more I've been working on this episode, the more I've been thinking, maybe it is time. I'm getting closer to the age my dad was when he bought his first pair of Crocs. So yeah, maybe it's time to dive into that. We'll see. And then they have actually one more brand attribute called simple. So utilitarian design with a versatile function helps Crocs stand out. In a world full of bells and whistles, less is more. And simple is something that very, very much describes these shoes, right? They're literally, two pieces, like the main foot part of the shoe, and then also the strap that goes around your heel. It's a very, very simple design. But you might be thinking, yes, all of these things make sense. Those are their brand attributes. That's what they're striving for. But why and how did Crocs actually become so successful? So I found another article in my research for this episode, and it's titled "Footwear That Follows Function on the Design Principles Behind Crocs." And this was actually written in 2018, so it's a little bit before this resurgence that we've seen in the popularity of Crocs. And I think this author does a really good job just kind of summarizing why Crocs have been so successful. What is it about them that has really set them apart from a lot of other shoes? And he says the simple answer is their form follows the most important functions required of footwear. While most brands focus on building shoes for a specific domain, e.g. Nike for sports, Crocs focused on the general functions of footwear itself. Though maybe not exhaustive, some of them are as below. Cover the foot effectively. Soft sole. Breathability. Fashionable. Environment-proof, rain, slush, etc. Easy to maintain. At all these points, Crocs tends to do a great job. In fact, the fashionable is the only controversial one, with the rest being generally agreeable to most of them. In addition to what was above, Crocs does one more great thing: adaptability. Adaptability in Crocs are two things: a wide variety of colors for each of their models, adaptability to each wear, and fitting to a particular footwear genre, adaptability to many occasions. This is almost never seen in any other brand. The offering of so many color options virtually reduces the possibility of a wearer rejecting a shoe if he or she likes the fit of it. Also, since the footwear doesn't fit onto a particular type of footwear, they go with everything. So what he's saying here is these shoes do a great job of covering your foot, which shoes need to do. They have a very soft sole. They have a breathability due to all of the holes in the shoe itself. And they're environment proof in a lot of ways. You can use them in the rain, like he said, in the slush. The slush would be maybe a bit of a bold call. They're also really easy to maintain. They're easy to clean, easy to wash. So there's a lot of ease associated with these shoes. But there's also something else that he talks about, which is related to the technology used in these shoes. So you might be wondering, what actually is the foam that these shoes are made out of? And that's a huge part of how the company even got started. The foam used in these shoes is made of something called Croslite. And this website called footart.co.uk actually goes into a lot of the benefits and some of the design ideas behind this Croslite foam. So again, this will be linked in the show notes. But I just want to touch on this quickly to show you how innovative this foam is and why it plays such a big role in the design of Crocs and why these shoes have been so popular. So Croslite is a proprietary closed-cell resin material, which is not plastic or rubber. It has an extraordinary impact-absorbing resin material, which was developed for maximum cushioning. The closed-cell properties resist odor, inhibit bacterial and fungal growth, and are non-toxic. This versatile material can be worn next to skin and be cleaned with just soap and water. It is this material which makes Crocs shoes lightweight, extremely comfortable, discourages sweating, but is also easy to care for. So you can be confident that although each style of Crocs may be designed differently, they all have the same special Croslite fabric built into them. Some additional benefits to Croslite that they have listed are ultralight, slip-resistant, antimicrobial, insulating, UV-resistant, recyclable, and ergonomic. So, as I've read a little bit more about the start of Crocs, originally they were made as boat shoes. And so you can see why a lot of these properties would have been attractive to the founders of Crocs. They're UV resistant, they're antimicrobial. You're going to be wearing them all day with your bare feet. You don't want anything, bacterial, fungal growth, anything like that creeping up inside your shoes. They're also slip resistant. So there's something about this material that actually makes them really good for being in the water and being wet, but still maintaining a grip. So as you can see, that makes it a pretty awesome boat shoe. But then, as the founders of Crocs found, was it's actually a lot of properties that people want in general for their shoes. And then also one of the biggest things is just how easy they are to clean. You can simply just use soap and water to clean out your Crocs and you're good to go again. So after doing all of this extra digging that I've been doing on Crocs since this cropped up a few weeks ago, I'm coming to see that there are a lot of reasons for these shoes to be as popular as they are. It's not as simple as just looking at them and judging them by the way they look. There's a lot of other properties which make them actually a really nice, usable shoe and something that people find maybe more utility in than a lot of other types of shoes. And so right there, that's the reason why people are buying them. But as of late, well, actually, as of the last few years, people have been buying them at a much, much higher rate, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic. So I found a few stats on this. It says, while the COVID-19 pandemic did a number on businesses around the globe, Crocs pulled in $1.4 billion in earnings, an increase of 12.6% over 2019 earnings. Additionally, Crocs' stock price more than quadrupled in 2020. And the hits just keep coming. In the third quarter of 2021, Crocs posted a record revenue of $625.9 million, a 73% increase from the same period in 2020. And so this is pretty crazy. For some reason, there's a few of those companies that around the pandemic really took off. And I actually didn't realize that Crocs was one of them until just recently. But evidently, a lot of the benefits of Crocs is they're comfortable, they're easy to use, easy to slip on. They're not that expensive. You can get a new pair. I think I saw some on sale for $29.99. Looks like the normal price for their standard Croc is $49.99, so pretty inexpensive. So during the pandemic, people were going more for that ease of use, usability, adaptability. You could use it in a lot of different settings. And they didn't really care what they look like, right? We were all working from home for such a long time that the look of the shoe, the style of the shoe wasn't as important as the utility of the shoe. So at the end of all my research, all the stuff that I was digging into for Crocs, I think this is really the answer I was looking for. Like, why are Crocs in the news so much right now? What is it about them or what is it about what's going on in the world right now that made them so popular again? Obviously, I knew they were popular when I was younger, but I had no idea what had happened when the pandemic hit and how they had really taken off. So yeah, all of these sales and this growth from the pandemic has kind of thrown them back into the limelight, kind of reinvigorated a consumer base for them. And it's pretty interesting to see. And it's kind of fun as I read more about it. Like I've said multiple times already, I don't know, it's somewhat convincing. There's a lot of cool properties and a lot of cool design principles incorporated in these shoes. But I know there's still one question that you're all still just dying to ask, and that is, why are Crocs called Crocs? And so I found a website that actually answers this, and it says, since the shoes were designed to perform on both land and sea, the brand pulled its name from the multi-environment amphibious crocodile. So yes, Crocs were named after crocodiles, which makes sense. They're good in the water, good out of the water, maybe have a somewhat similar look to them. I don't know, but I think we all can see the similarities between Crocs and crocodiles. It's more than just the name. And so with that, I'm going to bring this episode to a close. But first, I want to do a little bit of a summary on the design principles that are demonstrated by Crocs. So number one is simplicity. These shoes are, just looking at them, they're incredibly simple design. A lot of them have only two components to them, which is the main clog or shoe part of it, and then the strap that goes around your heel. They're very ergonomic design. They're very soft. They fit well to your foot. That cross-like foam forms really nicely to your foot, forming a really nice ergonomic footbed. They're also incredibly functional. They can be used for outdoor activities, for water sports, all sorts of outdoor adventures. They're durable. They're made from this cross-light foam material that is, incredibly durable. I think I've only seen one pair of Crocs actually broken in my own experience. And they're also very lightweight. They have that antimicrobial aspect of the cross-light design, so that keeps them from getting bacteria buildup and fungus and smelling, that kind of thing. And they're versatile. You can buy them in so many different colors and styles. And, there might be a little bit of an interesting style or interesting colors, kind of a loud design, but there's a wide variety. So whatever color you like, you can probably find it. And then finally, they're also a very accessible design. No matter what your foot shape is, you can probably wear Crocs and still find a lot of comfort in the design and the style of the shoe. So there we have it. These shoes are simple, they're ergonomic, they're very functional, durable, versatile, and finally, they are accessible. And so that is my little deep dive into Crocs. I hope you learned something from this. I learned quite a bit as I dove into it. I'm going to leave it there for today. As always, you can find Design30 on Instagram, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And you can become a free or a paid subscriber to the Design30 Substack. And please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. As always, remember, design more, despair less. Thanks for listening.